Welcome to Yin Yoga in Paradise, Gerringong, New South Wales. Gorgeous day here. And every now and then you might hear some birds in the background. So keep your ears open. But to start with, come into a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. You can be cross-legged, you could have your legs extended, you could be kneeling. Grab hold of the hip bones for a moment and Rolodex the hips forward and backward a little bit so you get this little movement at the base of the spine. You feel the back arch, you feel the back tuck under, you traction out the low back. And as you do it, see if you can coordinate the breathing. So as you arch the back, lift the head a little bit and breathe in through the nose. And then exhale, gently drop the chin. And start to feel this synchronization between the top of the spine and the lower spine, neck and hips. Just notice how the spine feels today. And then pause, rest the hands on the thighs, palms face out. And let the breathing start to slow down. And continue the breath through the nose, if you can. Inhale, float the hands above the head and clasp the fingers, pointer fingers up. Keep the elbows a little bit bent for now, so don't overextend. Slightly pull the navel back towards the spine so you feel the belly hollow. Tuck the tailbone just a little bit, and then as you exhale, straighten the arms just a little more. Stay in the pain-free range of motion. And keep that process going. Feel the belly come in, suck in a little bit, the tailbone tucks a little bit, and as you exhale, you might straighten a little bit more, always staying in the pain-free range of motion. And then exhale, drop the left hand to the ground and lean to that left side. Drop the left ear towards the shoulder. As you drop the left ear towards the shoulder, relax the left shoulder. So you might bend your elbow and push your right hip down towards the ground a bit. There's a butcher bird on top of my camera right now. Inhale, come up slowly. And then exhale to the other side. Breathe slowly. And then slowly come up. Let's come off the seated position onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips for a moment. And we'll do the same motion with the spine. So lift the tailbone. Rotate the elbows in and forward and lift the chin a little bit so you arch the back. And then slowly tuck the tailbone. Draw the navel in and drop the chin to the chest so you round the top of the back. You feel those shoulders come apart after all that stretching. Do that a few times. Work with the breath. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. So that's our butcher bird singing to us right now. And then slowly widen the knees, bring the feet a little closer together and sink slowly back, butt to heels. Let the belly nestle between the thighs as you rest the head and support the head with hands, fists, or the mat, whichever you like. Make sure you're comfortable in child's pose. If you need to support the back of the knees, you can. Come up a little higher if the knees or thighs don't like it. And then start to walk one hand forward towards the top of the mat. Keep the breath slow as you change hands. Keeping that left arm extended, or whichever arm is extended, gently thread the other arm underneath into a threaded position, resting on your shoulder and the side of your head. Now, if the side of the head doesn't touch the ground, grab a blanket or a towel and nestle it down onto the head. Just give the shoulder blade time to untether from the spine. Keep the breathing smooth. Adjust if you're in any discomfort. Three more breaths here if you can. And then change sides. Just notice how the neck and shoulder feels. Three more breaths. And then slowly come up onto all fours and start to straighten the legs out and come onto your elbows into television watching pose. Curl the toes for a moment and lift your kneecaps so you feel the back of the legs stretch out after all that bending. Feel the calf muscles let go. And then start to walk the feet to the sides of your mat and point the toes outwards like Charlie Chaplin feet. And drop the hands onto the floor. Make sure the arms are close enough so the hands can reach the upper arms. And you'll just feel the low back here. And in this combination of Sphinx and crocodile, start to take the tip of your nose and draw the infinity sign. It's very slowly, as big as you can out to the left and the right. Just notice how the neck feels. And as you're doing this, just feel the hips, the hip flexors, the groin area releasing. The next time you come to center, reverse direction. So the infinity sign goes out to the other side and across. If this gets too much for the low back at any time, come down into crocodile. Just drop the hands, flare the elbows out, and rest the head on the back of the hands. The next time you come to neutral, pause, bring the elbows out just a tad wider and the hands out to the edges of the mat. Thumbs point forward, fingers splay out to the side. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly extend the arms into seal pose. And just notice how that feels on the back. Adjust the hands as you need to. If they go wider, it's a little less intense. If they come narrow, a little more intense. So play around with your own experience here. And we're going to take the tip of the nose again and draw the figure 8. So you lift up and drop it right down towards the chest. Up and down. Try to do 3 of these on each side, if you can. You can always come back to Sphinx. Opening up the hip flexors the whole time. When you've done enough, drop the elbows, flare the elbows out to the side, and rest the forehead on the stacked hands. Notice the breath. As you walk the knees back in towards each other, bend the knees and rotate the feet about the ankle joint. Other way. Now, as you drop the feet, you come back to your elbows, and if you're on a hard deck or a hard floor, you can take a towel or a blanket out to the, let's say the left side of the mat, and bring your knee and ankle out into half frog pose. If you can, flare your elbows out into goalpost arms and turn the head to one side and notice how that feels. If that's too intense for the neck or shoulders, stack the hands and rest the head, the forehead on stacked hands. Notice what it's like to breathe when the ribs and the chest and the belly are against the ground. Feel all the muscles of the thoracic cavity that work together to help you breathe. And for those who'd like to, take your right hand and rest it on your low back. You can even tuck it into the waistline of the pants there. And you'll know if it's right for you, if it's not painful. You'll know if it's right if your breathing stays smooth. And you'll know if it's right if you can relax the shoulders. If this feels good, bring the other hand back as well, like you're in a handcuffed position. And let the weight of the arms sink into your low back. Notice how that feels. So the shoulders and neck relaxing, and the left hip getting that opening, that left thigh. Right hip flexor getting an opening. If your right foot gets a cramp, you can curl the toes. Otherwise, point them out so you get that triple extension of the joints. Ankle, knee, hip. And as you lie here in this crime scene pose, notice what you hear in the background. You might hear the sound of the wind, the birds. You might hear the sound of traffic near your house. You might hear the sound of your own breathing. When you're ready, you can release the hands and stack the hands under the forehead. Try to keep the thigh open at this point. And gently roll the temple, the head, the forehead from temple to temple, over the hands. Now we're going to be here for a little bit longer if you can. If you can't, that's okay. You can always bring that knee back in. If you'd like to add a little more intensity to this shape, prop the elbows under the shoulders once again into Sphinx. Notice how that feels on the low back and the left groin. Take 3 or 4 more breaths here. And for those who know this routine, at any time you want to go up to seal pose at the next level, you can. Remember, you can always come back down to crocodile with the hands under the forehead. Those who want to go to seal can flare the elbows and start to straighten the arms. Oh yeah, feel that. Ay, ay, ay. Get into that right hip flexor. Woo. Exhale, slowly come down. Bring that left knee back in and stack the hands underneath the forehead. And notice the contrast between the left and right thigh. And then prepare to come to the other side. So you can just bring the towel or the blanket to the other side. I'm going to have to put on my sun props. So the right knee out, 90 degrees. Right ankle. Come into goalpost arms. Notice how this side of the neck feels. Might feel different on this side. I feel a little tighter on this side. When you're ready, you can bring your 1 or 2 hands behind the back into handcuff position. Make any adjustments until you come into that Goldilocks position. Not too much sensation, not too little, just right. You might even sigh when you find it. It's funny, when I teach yoga around my friends, they hear my teacher's voice come out. So you might find over time, as the joint hydrates a little bit, it starts to relax a little bit more. Just notice if your shoulders and neck are ready to relax a little bit more. Five more breaths on this side if you can. Well, actually it'll be more than 5 by the time we've gone through the other variations. When you're ready, you can release the arms and stack the hands under the forehead. And roll from temple to temple. Release the neck. Now once again, if you'd like to come up and prop your elbows up into Sphinx, you can. And drop your chin down towards the chest a little bit so you traction out the back of the neck. Release the back of the neck. For those who want a little bit more intensity, you can flare the elbows out, hands out. Carefully straighten the arms. That'll go deep into the left hip flexor now. So important to stretch those hip flexors. And when you're ready, you can slowly come down. Bring that right knee in. Stack the hands under the forehead. And then slowly bring the hands under the ribs. Push yourself up onto all fours. Knees under hips. Hands under shoulders, and we'll do a little bit more spinal movement here, cat and cow. Just notice how your spine feels after all that work, especially around the neck and the tailbone, low back. And then we'll come down onto our backs. You might want to have your strap handy here. We'll get into the thighs a little bit more. I'm going to use a towel under the head just to support the head. You want the head in neutral head tilt. And start with knees bent. Knees bent and knees touching but feet separate. So you're in pyramid pose or teepee pose. Bring your hands onto the belly for a moment. Relax your breath. Ideally, you'll start to feel the belly moving under the fingers as you breathe. The more you relax, the more you'll come into the natural breath. where you'll feel the belly expand and lift as you breathe in, and settle and sink as you breathe out. If it's happening in the reverse order, see if you can relax a bit more, as if you were breathing in your sleep. Now, as you exhale, gently pull the navel down towards the spine. So you feel the low back press into the mat. Relax completely as you breathe in. Now notice what the spine does with that breath. As you pull the navel in, you'll feel the spine flatten out into the mat. And as you relax and the belly expands, you might feel the spine arch in the low back. Don't try and do anything with the spine, just use that muscular contraction of the abdominals as you exhale. And then relax the abs as you inhale. So our spine was designed to move as you breathe. We need that flexibility in the back to help us breathe with those deeper muscles. And then locate your strap and bring the right foot into the strap, holding onto the strap with your hands. Keep the arms and shoulders nice and relaxed. If there's any pain in the back of your neck, make sure the back of your head is supported. You can even lift it on a block if you need to. Curl the toes back until you feel a delicious stretch in the back of the right leg. Slowly lower the foot towards the floor until you feel the stretch move more into the calf muscle and maybe down into the Achilles tendon. Yum, yum, yum. It should be a yum, yum, yum feeling. Now start to slowly bring the leg up until you feel the stretch move up into the back of the thigh, into the hamstring. Woo! Don't go too far. This needs to be deliciously uncomfortable, not painful. Try that once more. Down slowly. Feel the stretch move into the lower leg. And then come up slowly. Feel it move further up the body, even into the low back for some of you. Slowly extend the left leg out if it's not already. So the left foot is on the ground. Right foot in the air. Toes curled back on both feet. For those who can, I want you to take both ends of the strap into the right hand only. You can even wrap it around your knuckles if that's helpful. And pick up your left knee. Squeeze the left knee with the left hand into your rib cage. And as you do that, pull that right leg back just a little more. So you feel a traction in the low back. Still got plenty of stretch on that hamstring. Now carefully take the legs apart into a big wide check mark or a Nike symbol. Keep that right leg plenty of stretch. Find the adductor. Oh yeah. Remember, if you get a cramp at any time, just reverse the position of the leg. Relax the grip on the strap if that hand starts to hurt from holding the strap. Three more breaths here, if you can. And then slowly bring the legs back towards each other. Drop the left foot to the ground and bend the right knee so that the right ankle is over the left knee in a figure four. Bring your hands out 90 degrees, palms down. Notice how that feels on the shoulder. You start to push the left foot into the mat and lift the hips off the ground for a moment. Tilt the pelvis to the left. Come down on the left hip and roll that figure four to the left. Notice how that feels in the hips, the low back, and even the rib cage as you twist. If that right piriformis area, that right hip, that sciatic area feels a little intense, you can always take your right hand and just give it a little knock, 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 a little percussion. It's a nice way to get into those muscles as well. Tap, tap, tap. Hello, are you in there? Now for those who want to get a little further with this, take the left hand and push that right thigh away from you. Almost like you're trying to unclog the hip and the leg. You're trying to pull that femur out from the hip. And then the right hand can reach back over your head as if you're reaching back for a spanner. You're under the car. You're reaching back for a spanner, and extend that right shoulder as much as feels good. Slowly turn the head to the right. You might pick up the odor of the armpits here. Adjust your arms at any time if it feels too much, too awkward, too uncomfortable. Now slow the breath down. Breathe in through the nose. And see if each new breath can become a little deeper than the previous breath. So you start to feel the lungs create the stretch sensation inside the ribs. Relax the arms. Bring the figure four back up and over. And lift the left foot off the ground for a moment. So the left knee is pushing the figure four towards the rib cage. And start to gently pull in the figure four with your hands, creating a little more in the piriformis, that right thigh. Bring the head to neutral if it's not. For those who want to go a little deeper, you can lift the head up and reach your hands through the figure four, right hand through, left hand around, and pull on the shin or the hamstring and lay the head down again. Only if that feels good. If you can't reach the shin, try a strap around the shin and hold the strap. This is very good for the low back. Three more breaths if you can. Relax the figure four, relax the legs, come into Shavasana for a moment and notice the contrast between the right side of the legs and hips and the left side. Bend the knees, grab your strap. Strap up that left leg this time. Toes curled back on that left foot. Now remember, it's not about how far you bring the leg back, it's about the sensations you feel. Do they feel, good? We want those muscles to trust us. It's not about ripping muscle from bone. Let's do some leg lowering here until it moves into the calf muscle. And then slowly back up. And at your own pace, you can lower and lift a few more times. Just checking in with your own body. For some of us, we're going to really want to hit the calf muscle more. And for some, the hamstring. So these two muscles really help release the low back. The next time you lift the left leg up, you can straighten the right leg out. You might like to take that strap into the left hand only. And pick up the right knee and hug the right knee into the ribs. And as you squeeze that right knee back into the ribs, notice the left leg wants to come back as well. And you can feel as you do that, this relationship between the back of the legs and the low back. We call that the posterior chain. We're trying to let it go. It's so tight. And then slowly bring the hips apart. Feel the adductor. Oh. It should feel, hopefully it feels good. Sometimes it can be If the adductors are really tight, they mightn't be so stretched out, but you can just take your time, stay in that zone that's pain-free. Slow the breath down. Gently bring the thighs back together into your figure four. So right foot to the ground, left ankle over that right knee, and you can release the strap. If your hands are a little stiff from the strap, you can clasp the fingers and reverse the palms to the sky. Left hand, left thigh, push it away, unclog the pelvis. Right hand reaches back for the spanner. Oh. Or did I do it the other way last time? I think it's left arm back this time. Right hand pushes the thigh. Did I cross over? Huh. Something feels different. No? That's, anyway. You can turn the head towards the armpit. Breath by breath, build the breath. Start to let the lungs expand the ribs. Slowly release the arms. Right foot lifts the figure four up towards the ribs. Your hands can help pull the figure four in towards the rib cage. Slowly drop the right foot to the ground, hands out 90 degrees, palms down. Push through the right foot, lift the hips into the air, and roll onto your right hip until your figure four comes to that right side. Ah, this is where I did it. Now we can take the right hand against the left thigh and push it out. Aha! That's when it happens. Notice how that feels when you push the leg bone away from the hip. Oh, it gets so jammed up in there. For those who want to reach for the wrench over the head, you can. And then turn the head to the left if you like. And notice what it's like to breathe in this twist. It makes it harder to breathe, but that's a good thing, because it can strengthen the breathing muscles as you deepen the breath slowly to add to the stretch. And then slowly come back. Release the legs and rest the body. Legs extended. And just notice if this has let go some tension from the hips down to the toes. Bend the knees, feet on the mat. Clasp the hands under the back of the head. And if you can, bring the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Imagine your elbows are out nice and wide, like you're in a double butterfly here. You might even arch the spine here and push the elbows a little closer to the floor, knees to the floor. Imagine you're under a blue sky and Gerringong, looking up at the clouds. Sea breeze blowing. Sorry folks, I know some of you are in the snow there, so I better stop that. Sorry. And then exhale, slowly close the knees towards each other and push the low back into the floor. Exhale, pick the head up, hold the head up, pull the navel back in towards the spine. Now wrap your forearms around the skull. Squeeze the skull nice and strongly here. Squeeze with all your strength and start to slowly pull the back of the skull up and traction out all the tension in the back of the neck and where the skull meets the neck, that occipital ridge. Oh. Keep the head up, lift the knees up, and gently roll onto your side and cushion your head like you've fallen asleep on the side of your body, curled up. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position. If you have a block to sit on, take a block, and I can feel the sun is coming over me, so I'm going to put on my sun props. So excuse the sunglasses. Let's extend the legs for a moment first. They still feel a little bit after all that work. Just rub the back of the knees. And then take your left leg underneath you. Left knee points straight ahead. Now, if you want to sit on the ground, you can. But I need the block to elevate the hips, so I've got a little more space here. So you don't have to sit on a block here, but it definitely helps me. And then bring that right foot over, and as best as you can, start to bring it back with some help from the hands until you get the knees roughly over each other. So we're coming into shoelace pose. See if you can bring the knees together and the bottom knee to the ground. And if the bottom knee doesn't go to the ground, try bringing a towel underneath it. And we'll grab our strap again. We won't hold this too long today, but strap up that right foot and bring your right hand behind your back and grab that strap. So your right hand is anchoring the right foot and it's all twisted around, so you probably don't know what's right and what's left at this point. Good. Now smile. If you can't smile, adjust something. It's probably a little too intense. Bring the left hand across the body over that right knee and bring your right shoulder back. Look over the right shoulder as far as you can that's comfortable. Relax the left shoulder and then slowly turn the head to the left. So your spine is double twisting here. The cervical spine's twisting to the left and the thoracic spine is twisting to the right. You'll notice if you can still smile. If you can't, back off a little bit. Sit up tall, shoulders relaxed and down. Smooth breath. And then slowly release. And bring your hands forward. And just try to kiss your knee for a moment. Feel that in the glutes, in the low back. Gently come up. Use your hands to lift you up. Extend the legs for a moment. You can lean back if you like. And then we'll try the opposite side. So this time, I guess it's the left foot back first, and then the right foot comes over. No, the other one. Right foot left. So the opposite side, whatever that means to you this time. And then when you're ready, you can strap up that foot. So whichever leg's on top, that same hand reaches behind your back and secures the foot. Sit up tall, shoulders back and down. Mona Lisa smile. Chin off chest. Slowly turn over your back shoulder, that left shoulder. Look behind you like someone's just called your name. And then come into the double twist, slowly bringing the head back to the front shoulder, looking over the front shoulder. Of course, if you don't need the strap, if your hand can reach your foot, that's fine. Slow the breath down. Put as much of your attention as you can on the breath and the sensations you're feeling. Slowly release the twist. Kick the knees over each other as you can. We'll come into one more forward fold, over into kissing the knee. And then slowly come up. And for those who can, come into Vajrasana, Thunderbolt pose, kneeling if you can. If you want to sit cross-legged, you can. You can be on a block or on the ground or on 2 blocks. Notice how you feel. Relax the shoulders and become very still. Make sure you're comfortable. And for the next 3 breaths, simply notice the sensations of each breath coming into the nose. You might even feel the in-breath against the soft palate of the mouth, the back of the throat. And on the next exhale, bring the hands together at the chest. Let the head bow in gratitude for today's practice and each other's company. And Jaren Gong. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Thomas.